So there's been a big news cycle pretty much this week. I'm going to talk about a few different things. First, I'm going to talk about Trump and the way he's been handling the whole Epstein thing. I think a lot of us have been pretty disappointed in basically the outcome, which is the same outcome that's been around for there's been 6 years now. Big news cycle. Oh, oops, hold on 1 second. My bad about that. I don't know where that, I guess it was echoing from something. Basically, Trump, we're going to talk about Trump and the Epstein situation. We're going to talk about the ICE facilities that have been attacked. And there have been a few of them just over this weekend, and why ICE has been like the target of all these wild leftists. We're going to talk about how Karen Bass is actively fighting ICE and saying that those are her people. She's defending her city. And then we're going to talk about all the backlash that's been going on with Superman, because, you can't just have a normal movie that just comes out, especially a superhero movie where everyone loves superhero movies. So we're going to talk about all these little things. If this is content you like and enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm streaming on YouTube and Rumble. So comment down below what you guys think about all this, and we'll just dive right on into this. So DOJ and FBI review finds no Jeffrey Epstein client list, confirms suicide, according to a memo they sent around to the whole FBI. This is like 2 days ago now. So we already know at this point, somehow he did end his own life. They confirmed it. Why he would, I don't know. If he didn't have a client list, if he wasn't going to get in trouble, why would you do that? And apparently he had no client list, which makes no sense, because who were they trafficking all of these people to? This is not adding up. And people have been really disappointed with this, especially because people like Kash Patel, people like Dan Bongino were, right when they were trying kind of campaigning themselves to work in the FBI, this was a big thing for them. And they've just completely have done an absolute 180 on this whole situation. They're acting like that, nothing, all these conspiracies are crazy, even though they entertain these conspiracy theories, or if you want to label them conspiracy, however you want to label them. So let's dive into, so this is literally a video from Kash Patel and Benny Johnson's podcast in 2023, basically just proven like something has changed since then. I don't get what it is. The sound's not playing. Oops. There we go.
Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing?
Oh, I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if you release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word, or whoever that guy is, as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why.
So that didn't age well. So Kash Patel was really big on this, and then all of a sudden he's going along with the narrative that was from the FBI before him. So what changed? And same with Pam Bondi. So this was just Pam Bondi a few months ago.
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
So they're sitting on her desk right now. That was as of, I believe, February, she said this. And now she's acting like they never existed. Makes no sense at all. Another thing they tried to do, which no one's buying this, was Dan Bongino and Kash Patel decide to release video footage of like outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell, and to prove that no one went in and out and that he did end his own life. This was to confirm from that happening. And of course, there's a minute missing from it conveniently between 11:59 and midnight. You can see yourself in the bottom left-hand corner right here. The time skips. In the 10-hour footage. I don't know if maybe they thought no one would notice that. Nobody would question that. Seems kind of odd because they had to go in themselves to clip that out. You know, that doesn't make any sense at all. And what was this about too? You had conservative influencers like DC Drano and Libs of TikTok with these binders that said the Epstein files, phase 1. Well, it seems like that was the only phase at this point. Doesn't seem like there's a phase 2, phase 3. It was just phase 1. So why do this? Why put on this show? This is the thing that makes no sense, is because Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, when they first got in there, they was like, this is first priority. We want to be the most transparent FBI to ever exist. And then they're doing the same things the previous FBI did. Like, what? Now, this is what I did not like. So this is from yesterday's cabinet meeting, Trump and his cabinet. So they were asked a question about Jeffrey Epstein. I am a Trump fan, but I did not like the way he responded to this. I thought it was very like, let's forget about it and move on, which I think is shady, especially since you know your whole base is really big on trying to find out this info. And Pam Bondi didn't help herself either when it came to answering this question.
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the death?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
So every night 1 minute just skips. That doesn't really make much sense. That seems kind of odd and a weird way to explain that. And I guess she said they're going to provide proof of that, which I don't think any amount of proof at this point is going to be satisfying to people, because your whole administration, well, like especially like Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, all attacked Biden's FBI for basically ignoring this, but yet you guys had the same answers they did. So either they didn't ignore it and they did as much investigation as you guys did, or you guys are hiding something. And I didn't like Trump's response at all, where he's just like, oh, why are you still talking about Epstein? Like, I get there's other things going on, especially the Texas floods are pretty bad right now, but this is a big deal to people. And like this involves, there's so many victims here that probably want justice. They want the people that did this to them to be held accountable. And you're going to downplay it like it's no big deal. It seems odd to me. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. And like I said, especially since your base was really big on getting information and wanting these people held accountable, for you to just be acting like it's no big deal, I think it's like a slap in the face of your supporters. So basically, the Epstein case apparently is closed now, all of a sudden. And I guess we're just never going to hear the end of it. I was listening to Tim Pool the other day, and he explained it. Like, he doesn't agree with this stuff either, but he explained what their thought process was, which means Biden's FBI, the same thought process was, if you have a bunch of CEOs who are probably on these tapes get exposed, it's going to destroy those companies and the image of those companies, and then it's going to destroy the stock market and the economy. And then if you have world leaders get exposed, it's going to ruin like relationships and trade relations with those countries, and basically the whole world be destroyed. But my counter to that would be, so basically, if you're rich and powerful, you get to do whatever the hell you want and get away with it because it could mess up things in the world. Like, that makes no sense to me. And what we've learned, especially with Elon Musk with Tesla, is a damage to a company's look is temporary. You remember when Tesla stock was tanking because Elon Musk was like the worst thing ever, and now his stock's back to normal. It's temporary. So I think that's just an excuse. I mean, that could be the way they're thinking too, but I think it's just a cop-out to protect powerful people that should not be protected. And you have a lot of people that are just not on board with this. And this is what I was saying too. So the Hodge twins posted this. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years for sex trafficking kids with Epstein. And the DOJ and FBI just said there is no client list. He didn't blackmail anybody. And nobody else is getting charged. So they sex traffic kids to nobody. That's the thing that doesn't make sense. How are you going to put Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for trafficking people, but you're saying she didn't traffic them to anyone? How do you traffic people to no one? You would have to have proof they're being trafficked somewhere to arrest them for this. So if this is the route you're going to go, then Ghislaine Maxwell should be released from prison immediately. Like that's such a, it makes no sense at all. You can't arrest someone for trafficking someone to no one. You know, that's just, it makes no sense. And then this is like the Justice Department FBI have concluded, this is their like official statement. So none of this just makes any sense at all. It really does feel like they're protecting someone or certain people. A lot of liberals have been saying Trump is on the list. I don't believe he is. I would think, like I've said before, if he was, when the Democrats were trying every single reason to arrest him and throw him in prison the last 4 years, that would have been an easy thing to do. And then also, I don't think he would have appointed someone like Cash Patel to the FBI if he was worried about getting exposed like that, unless, I mean, maybe he's the one that told Cash Patel to drop it. I don't know. It just seems odd to me. I just don't see, like, we all know he rode on his plane, but if you look at like the documents there, it showed he was that I believe Epstein wasn't even on the plane with him, and it never went to the island. It went like around the country. So yeah, this whole thing has just been extremely disappointing. Waste of tax dollars, honestly, a waste of time looking into stuff that if you're just going to come out with the same answer as the previous administration, why'd you even waste time doing it? It makes no sense. Somehow Epstein had no client list. He trafficked people to no one. And yeah, I think it's ridiculous, and it sucks for the victims that from this situation who are not going to feel like people are looking out for them. They're not going to feel like they got like I guess they're just desserts, like the people held accountable. That's what they were probably hoping for, and they're not going to get it. So the rich and powerful win again. So that's it with the Epstein stuff. Let's see the chat. Pam kind of explained it, the missing minute, but makes it, yeah, her explanation made absolutely zero sense at all. It's basically saying, oh yeah, all computers do that. No, they don't. It's stupid. Okay, so let's go to the next topic, which is crazy too. This is something I feel like was barely even talked about or touched on or anything over the weekend, and barely any media companies are even talking about this. Alvarado ICE facility attack. 11 charged in ambush on ICE officers. So there's an ICE facility in Texas where a group of people just went and attacked them. So it says 11 people face charges after planned ambush on an ICE facility in Alvarado where a group intended, quote, to kill ICE correction officers. An Alvarado police officer was shot in the neck during an attack but expected to survive. So this was an organized, coordinated attack. Happened 10:30 p.m. on the 4th of July, so 5 days ago. And no one has really talked about this. Law enforcement officials said 10 to 12 people in black military-style clothing began shooting fireworks at the facility. One or two others broke off from the group and began to damage vehicles and spray graffiti. Officials say the graffiti said things like ice pig, traitor, and other profanity. Officers believe the activity was meant to draw ICE detention officers out of the building. 2 unarmed officers made their way outside to talk to the vandals. A single officer from the Alvarado Police Department was also called out to investigate. When the officer responded, he was shot in the neck by a person from the woods. So they just had like a sniper chilling out there. Officials say another person across the street then shot 20 to 30 rounds at the unarmed ICE detention officers. The jammed AR-style rifle was found at the scene as the attackers fled. The Johnson County Sheriff's Office stopped a vehicle with a single driver inside. 2 guns were found in the car as well as a Kevlar vest. Sheriff deputies stopped another 7 individuals in another area. Some were wearing body armor, some were covered in mud, and some were armed. Let's see. According to court documents, the driver told the sheriff's deputy that he met some people online and took them from Dallas to the detention center to make some noise. 12 sets of body armor, flyers, spray paint, and a flag saying resist fascism, fight oligarchy were eventually found. Other searches found masks, goggles, gloves, weapons, fireworks, and more. And these are the attempted murder suspects. So you can go through all of them. This dude looks crazy. That. So these are all the names. They're all from Texas, it looks like. One of them didn't get a mugshot for some reason. If convicted, they could face 10 years to life in prison because they're all getting charged with attempted murder. And okay, so here's a picture of all of them, all 10. Yeah, I don't think there's any surprise by the way they look. What's crazy too is apparently they started a Give, Send, Go, which is like a GoFundMe, to raise money for these people. So it says, support DFW anti-ICE protesters. Posted by this, looks like the Seattle Commune, I think on Instagram. On the night of July 4th, local police arrested 10 people outside the ICE Prairie Land Detention Facility in Alvarado, Texas. We don't know all the circumstances leading to the arrest. We do know the popular outrage and resistance to deportation is growing across the country. Blah, blah. These 10 people arrested on July 4th currently face serious charges aimed not only at ruining their lives, but signaling an authoritarian criminalization of dissent and protests against ICE. This is about, apparently, according to this page, it's about ruining their lives. They literally shot a dude in the neck. They shot 20 to 30 rounds at unarmed ICE officers. But yet, their arrests are about ruining their lives. They ruined their own lives by getting involved in this to begin with. This is some of the spray paint. So you see Ice Pig, Traitor, this Kevlar vest, all found. And what's crazy too is, so Representative Dan Goldman, I couldn't tell you what district he represents, posted this the same day that this happened. And he's not the only one to post something similar to this. This has been a big push by Democrats. So he says, allowing ICE agents to hide their faces during mass immigration arrests isn't about safety. It's about fear, intimidation, and avoiding oversight. I introduced legislation to ban agents from wearing masks and require they display identification during immigration arrests. See, this is the thing. This is what they're doing to actual facilities. Imagine if these ICE officers show their face during arrest and then they're out with their families at the park somewhere, or someone follows them home. Like, that's, you're risking their lives. They have to cover their face because of crazy leftists like these people attacking them. If these leftists were normal, then yeah, they could be out there face exposed, but they can't because their lives are at risk every single day just for doing their job and respecting the law. So here's a little video.
There were a total of 12 sets of body armor found during various searches of vehicles, defendants, and the area around the Prairie Land Detention Center. And this included a flag saying, "Resist fascism, fight oligarchy." Law enforcement officers found spray paint. They found flyers such as "Fight ICE Terror with Class War."
Yeah, that sounds exactly like the people that ambushed firefighter. Maybe it's the same people. Who knows? You never know these people. Apparently, they travel a lot to protest, so it's a lot of the same people. And this wasn't the only time this happened this weekend. This is reporting from Monday. Man with an assault rifle killed after shooting at a Border Patrol facility in Texas. Not the same part of Texas. This is a different part of Texas. A man with an assault rifle fired dozens of rounds at federal agents at the U.S. Border Patrol facility in Texas on Monday, injuring a police officer before authorities shot and killed him. Authorities identified the shooter as Ryan Luis Mosqueda, believed to be 27, who they said shot agents at exiting the building, which is near the U.S.-Mexico border. That's absolutely insane. Same weekend. And apparently his father was out the night before looking for him. They didn't report much on this. I don't know if more details were reported since then, but this was on Monday. And then also, of course, Portland has to always be thrown into it. July 4th protests at Portland ICE office lead to 4 more arrests. So it says 4 more people were arrested July 4th outside U.S. Immigration Portland field office, which has become the focus of protests. The arrests bring the total number of people facing federal charges to 22 since early June. Jeremy Andrew Hummel is charged with damaging government property, accused of spray painting a derogatory message on the plywood protecting the building's guard shack. Andrew Wyatt Markham is charged with assault, accused of kicking a federal officer who was running after him. Riley Freeman has been charged with assaulting a federal officer with a deadly or dangerous weapon and possession of an unregistered destructive device. So this is 3 separate events at ICE facilities in one weekend. This is absolutely insane. And all these people still want to act like the ICE people are the bad guys. They're not. They're upholding law and order. They are doing their jobs. They're taking the illegals that are here in our country that should not be here, and they're sending them home to their home countries. Apparently, that's the worst thing ever. And clearly, all these people must be unemployed, because how do you spend all your time just protesting? And like, what? How are you willing just to like throw your life away like this? Like shooting at officers, attacking officers, you're ruining your life doing that. And that's worth it to you? Like, no, you're clearly bored and you probably don't have a job or any purpose in life. So you're trying to be a part of these movements. It's absolutely insane. So Tom Homan, did I not have the video of Tom Homan? Oh, here it is. Tom Homan responds to the Portland one and said he's actually going to Portland himself.
Not only that, I'm going to head to Portland. I'm going out there. They're not going to bully us or you know, we're going to do the job. We're going to do it in Portland too. But for the mayor of New York City and Chicago, President Trump made it clear 2 weeks ago. We're going to double down and triple down on sanctuary cities. Yes. Why? Not because they're blue, because we know they're releasing public safety threats to the streets every day. Like Florida, we agree with all the sheriffs in Florida. They're taking our detainers. They're not releasing illegal alien public safety threats. They're calling us. So we can spend less resources in Florida and send them to New York, to Chicago, and to Portland, and L.A. We're going to double down and triple down on sanctuary cities. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail, then we'll go to the community and we'll find him. Or we'll do more worksite enforcement. We'll find him at the worksite. And when we do these things and we ramp up that enforcement, we're going to find others who aren't a criminal target, but they're in the country illegally. We're going to arrest them too. So what you're going to get, sanctuary cities, is exactly what you don't want. More agents in your communities and more collateral arrests. That's what we're going to do. We're doubling down, tripling down. So for those who say they want to keep ICE out of the city, good luck with that.
This is the thing where they're saying, like, a lot of people like Karen Bass and other liberals from like New York, Chicago, are saying that, like, oh, they're targeting blue cities, they're targeting Democrats. No, they're targeting cities that are not cooperating. Like he said, he doesn't need as many people in Florida because Florida is cooperating and Florida is helping along. And many cities in Florida are helping along. So they can take those people that would normally need to be there and put them in another area where they're not cooperating, like Los Angeles, like Portland, like Chicago. They need to spread them out everywhere to help get these people out, because that is his job. That is the job of ICE. And at the end of the day, they can fight all they want, but federal law trumps state law. So they're allowed to do this. And I want to show this too. This is awesome. So this is from the Homeland Security Twitter page. This says, American Patriot. On Independence Day, violent rioters targeted an ICE facility in Portland area, assaulting law enforcement and vandalizing federal property and burning the American flag. They always burn the American flag. In response, an ICE officer raised a new flag in its place. This is the type of unwavering patriotism and love of America that our law enforcement officers display on the job day in and day out. Instead of being thanked for their heroic work, our law enforcement is facing nearly 700% increase in assaults against them. And you see the flag right here flying high. And that's the thing too. This is all the assaults in just one weekend, and these are the ones that just reported on, and they're not even being reported on that much. Like the AP found this one, but this one's from Oregon Live, so a news site that's specifically Oregon related for the Portland, and this is from a local Fox channel for the Texas one. The mainstream media is not reporting on this stuff. So if you're an everyday person watching CNN or MSNBC, you don't know this stuff's happening. But if you have to actually look for this stuff. But it's sad that these ICE officers have such an increase in assaults against them just for doing their job. And this is exactly why they can't expose their faces and they have to keep their mask on. Or else their families will be in danger just from them going out and living their lives. They will be attacked any way, shape, and form. Because there's already people on Twitter doxing ICE officers' hotels and where they're staying at. There's multiple pages I've seen where people expose, oh, they're at the Holiday Inn here. Go get them. Oh, they're at here. Like the crazy leftists won't hesitate to expose them. So and they're going to keep keeping their mask on, and they should. And I hope stuff like this eventually stops. You know, I guess if you arrest enough bad people, maybe the crime will go down. That's the idea. So maybe all these crazy leftists will eventually stop. Because this is sad to see that these people, even when they're at the ICE facility, have to fear for their lives. It's crazy. And the media should be ashamed of themselves for not talking about this more and defending ICE. Yeah, so that's it for that one. What's the next one? Next one, we have Karen Bass, the great Karen Bass. So best mayor of Los Angeles. So, if you guys don't know, Karen Bass and Donald Trump are best friends. That's obviously a joke. So, Karen Bass is the mayor of Los Angeles, and she is helping Los Angeles join a lawsuit against Donald Trump's administration and his ICE raids. So, and this comes after she was down on the ground with ICE. She's been talking trash on ICE nonstop, and she just hates ICE. So she said, so it says Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass announced Tuesday that the city will join a lawsuit against the Trump administration intended to stop federal immigration raids. And she says, Los Angeles is united in our rejection of the Trump administration trampling of our Constitution. We are taking this administration to court to stop raids terrorizing our communities and violating our rights. He's not breaking the Constitution. Enough is enough. The announcement came a day after Bass confronted armed federal agents in the National Guard Monday as they marched through MacArthur Park in Los Angeles Westlake neighborhood. I got some good video of that. So both the city and county of Los Angeles, along with the cities of Culver City, Montebello, Monterey Park, Pasadena, Pico Rivera, Santa Monica, and West Hollywood, plan to join a suit filed by the ACLU of Southern California on behalf of a number of individuals and immigration advocacy groups. The federal government has concentrated thousands of armed immigration agents, many of whom lack visible identification, and military troops in our communities conducting unconstitutional raids, roundups, and anonymous detentions, sowing fear and chaos among our residents. You have nothing to fear if you're illegal. So if you're illegal, then yeah, you should be feared. You should be fearing getting deported. So yeah, they're suing them. This probably won't go anywhere. It's all just for show. This is her talking about it. Let me zoom out a little bit.
Just finished working with our city attorney to file a lawsuit because we have to stop this mess. You know, the idea of having troops go through the park and disrupt the children's summer camp or drive through the streets and just pick people off the streets. We don't know if a kidnapping is happening or what. And so our city attorney is leading the way. We're filing a lawsuit. We're calling for an injunction for this to stop. We need to remember who we are as a country. I'm very clear as to who we are as a city, and I'm clear about my job, which is to make sure that this city is safe for all Angelenos, regardless of when you came here, what country you came from, or why. We got to stop it. And I know, you know what? We're going to stand strong because this city is united. We are not divided, and we're not going to let anybody divide.
Yeah. So you honestly have fought harder for all the illegals there than any of your own actual citizens. I've heard still that one of those wildfires like 6 months ago, people still haven't even gotten like permits to start rebuilding their houses because there's so much red tape and regulations in your city that people can't even like rebuild their lives after the fires. But yet you're fighting hard for this, but you're not fighting to speed up the process for that. And this is her again, just going on this tour.
I mean, last I checked, all of us work for the American people. And so...
American people. I hope she heard herself on repeat. American people.
As I said, I am the duly elected official here to
elected by citizens.
Represent the city, and it is my job to protect the city. I was not interfering. It is my responsibility to ask, what are you doing here in this park where nothing is going on? Why are you grabbing people off the street, making a lot of people believe that kidnappings are taking place? You know, we have whole sectors of the city now and the economy that has come to a halt. Our fashion district, 4,000 independent businesses, is a ghost town. We have restaurants and other places of work where the workforce is afraid to come in. Having restaurant owners tell me that this is worse than COVID. So this is damaging to our economy. It's damaging especially to the children. And this is all about a political stunt.
No, you going there and saying you just want to talk to ICE is a political stunt. This right here. This is a political stunt. You're going to go there. You're on the phone with whomever, maybe Tom Homan. Like that is a right here.
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable.
Who did you speak
Just
with?
wait and see.
Mayor Bass.
That is a photo op and a half, 100%. So this is ICE responding to her.
The federal government is not leaving LA. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now because this is going to be normal.
And she said something about, she posted this. This is, I think is funny. This footage is from today at MacArthur Park. Minutes before, there were more than 20 kids playing. Then the military comes through. Basically, the military's ruined everything. Going through this nice kids park, and these, the kids are innocent and everything. Apparently, this park is known as like a fentanyl hub. So, yeah, watch this. Copyright for that. Look at this. Don't see many kids there. I personally wouldn't want to take my kid there. Would any of you? Look at that. It looks like Kensington. This is the park that Karen Bass was so worried about protecting. And even in her actual comments, like, you're full of shit. MacArthur Park is a fentanyl hub of LA and is a safe haven for violent cartels. Like, she doesn't even know her own city. That's what she's protecting right there. And she said something about the economy being destroyed from all these immigrants. First off, your city should not rely on illegal immigration to run. Like, it just shouldn't. And if it does, that's an issue on your part. They had an article here I wanted to read to. This from the Los Angeles Times. California labor market relies considerably on immigrants. So this says about 1/3 of all restaurant and warehouse workers are foreign-born. About 40% are home and healthcare and child daycare workers. 50% workers at trucking and lodging businesses. 60% of workers in landscaping and janitorial services, all in Los Angeles. So foreign-born could mean legal immigrants too, but illegals are also considered in here. And it's funny because they'll say things like they don't take actual jobs from American people, right? California has the highest unemployment rate in the country at 5.2%. I'm sure some of these people would love to do these jobs. Just sit there and assume they wouldn't is absolutely insane. And then this article does some misleading stuff here. So this says right here, immigrants aren't taking jobs from U.S.-born workers. And then listen to the study they do right here. So it says, despite the political talking points, studies show immigration does not have a significant negative effect on wages and employment of native-born U.S. workers. Don pointed a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research in April, which found that immigrants' participation in the labor market between 2000 and 2019 has benefited non-college educated native-born workers in terms of wages, and it led to, quote, no significant wage effect on college educated natives. So first off, it typically wouldn't affect college people because these people aren't getting jobs where college people are getting. Second off, it definitely does, because if you're bringing illegals into a city and they're making less wages, typically the minimum wage, or less wages than Americans would work for, then it is affecting their wages. Because this is the thing that makes no sense with leftists. Leftists are the party that says, we need big companies to pay a living wage. We need them to pay a living wage. Why do you think they're not paying a living wage? Because they're hiring Jose for $10 an hour. So someone here that wants to make 15 doing that job can't, because they're paying $10 to someone else. That's what it is. I don't see how people don't see that. It drives wages down because they can hire for cheaper. Like, what part of that is hard to understand? And that's all of Los Angeles. This is why wages don't typically go up. And another thing too, which I didn't even think about until recently, if you're a company willing to hire illegals, right? Take the risk hiring illegals, even though they know it's against the law. You're probably not likely to follow like OSHA violations. You're probably not likely to follow other like conditions in your workplace when it comes to like giving proper breaks, making sure your employees have water. You're more likely to break other rules too, which equates to worsening work conditions, which is also a big leftist talking point, like Bernie Sanders. We need better working conditions. We need less hours worked by people. We need higher wages. You can't do any of that if you have illegals coming in here and you're welcoming them in and they're like, yeah, we'll work 80 hours a week at $4 an hour. Why would anybody ever hire someone at $20 an hour when they only want to work 40 hours a week when you can have someone making like a half or a quarter of it willing to work more? Every company is going to do that. And that drives wages down. And once we get all these people out of here, all these people that are losing their employees, like restaurants, landscaping, all this stuff, they're not going to shut down their businesses. They're going to pay American workers a good wage, and that will drive wages up, and it will help the economy because these people working and not a part of that 5.2% unemployment rate in California will be paying taxes, will be contributing to society. This is not a hard concept. Illegal immigrants drive down wages. And the faster they all get out of here, the faster these people will still have their businesses and people will be making a living wage and there'll be less people on unemployment. So hopefully ICE keeps it up, keeps it going, and does not give up on these sanctuary cities. Another thing too, I want to throw this in there before I end this segment, is that illegal migrants count towards the census. They count towards the electoral college. So California has a certain amount of electoral votes depending for the election. I think they have 54 or 56, something like that, depending on their population. Illegals are included in that population. The reason all these Democrats are freaking out is because their states and their cities are primarily the home for illegal migrants. So when they redo the census in 2030, they're going to lose tons of electoral votes, tons of congressional seats, because these people are not going to be counted towards it anymore. We've already seen from the lockdowns, people flee California, flee New York City for places like Texas and Florida, and they have said that in 2024, if they did the electoral college then, California would have already lost 4 electoral votes. New York would have lost, I think, 2. Florida would have gained 2. Texas would have gained 2. It's shifting red. And the more you get the illegals out of here, the more it will do that. Honestly, we might just never have a Democrat president again. I don't want to speak too far ahead. I don't want to jinx anything because anything can happen. Stuff switches left and right. But what I'm saying is these people should not be counted towards the census, especially because they can't vote. It should only be voters that are counted towards it, or people that can vote, like, children will be able to vote one day. Citizens. That's my point. Yeah, so that wraps that up. Let me know what you guys think about Karen Bass and fighting ICE, because that's just stupid. She's going to lose every day of the week. I got one more topic to talk about. This is a little bit of pop culture. It's been talked about a lot this week, which is Superman. The new Superman movie comes out, I believe, Friday. And it's been getting talked about a lot lately. And that's mainly because of what James Gunn, who is the director of Superman, and his brother have been saying about the movie. His brother Sean Gunn. They're basically politicizing a superhero movie, which in reality, if you just release a Superman movie and you just shut up about it, people are gonna go see it. And personally, for me, I've seen the trailer for this. It actually looks pretty good. I'm still not 100% sold on the guy playing Lex Luthor. I don't know if he looks intimidating enough. But Green Lantern's in it, Mr. Terrific's in it. It looks like a good movie. But they're making people not want to see it the more they open their mouths. So, but before I get into what they said, I could not believe this was a real article. written, I think, like a day ago. So yesterday, this is a real article, and this just has TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, all around it. Superman isn't trying to be political. We just have real life supervillains now. So this whole story is just, it's like what, 5 paragraphs, but all Allison Wilmore wanted to do was just find a way to connect Lex Luthor to Republicans. So first paragraph's just talking about Krypton. Second paragraph talking about James Gunn. Gunn again, and third one. This is where it gets, this is the whole point of the article here. Similarly, it doesn't need to turn its takes on Lex Luthor, played by the spectacularly compelling Nicholas Hoult, into some combination of Elon Musk, Trump, and some actually smart for the comparison to come to mind. Those real life figures have been accelerating into Luthor territory for years now. So this whole article she made, she basically just wanted to compare Musk and Trump to Lex Luthor. It's insane. Yeah, not even a close. Yeah, if you want to compare, like they're all rich, then yeah, you can make that comparison. But you know, other than that, it's beyond stupid. And the fact that this woman wasted this time with this is just absolutely insane. So this is Sean Gunn, his brother, talking about Superman.
It is exactly what the movie is about. I think that, like, we support our people, you know, we love our immigrants. We love, yes, Superman is an immigrant, and yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, then you're not American.
Apparently I'm not American, guys. I'm not American. Haven't been this whole time. Yeah, so this person shared this and said, Superman is a literal alien. He didn't come to America illegally. He landed here. Oh, and by the way, he's not real. That's the thing that's funny about this is, like, they're basically saying, oh, it's a story of immigration and blah, 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 and how great it is. This is a fictional comic book character of a baby who was sent to Earth because his planet was destroyed and his parents sent him off here. And then he grew up and then ended up saving the world and Metropolis numerous times. Not realistic at all. And if you really want to get realistic into this, if this happened in modern time, the U.S. government would not allow Superman just to walk freely. They would capture him in any way, shape, or form they could. It would be like the Flashpoint comic where he's like starved and experimented on his whole life. That's realistic. So this has nothing to do with immigration. If you want to get technical terms, Superman's from another land. He moved to this land. Immigration, sure. But at the end of the day, he's an alien from another planet, and this is a fictional story about a superhero. Okay, you can't connect fictional comic book stories to real life. Like, Batman is a billionaire who fights people at night. That doesn't mean Elon Musk is outside the bat suit fighting people. It's not realistic. And then James Gunn jumped in on this too. He says, Superman is about an immigrant that came from other places and how we've lost the value of basic human kindness. Yes, it's about politics. We haven't lost the value of basic human kindness. This is about, if you break the law, you have to go to jail or get deported back to your own country. That's how that works. So if you get pulled over and you get a DUI, you're going to get split off from your kid. You're going to get split off from your wife. You're going to go to jail. Should we just allow them to go home because it's not kind to throw them in jail? No, they broke the law. Same thing with illegally coming here. These people, when they come here, they know they're doing it illegally. They know 100% they're doing it illegally. And they're still choosing to risk it coming here. And I get it. You can have sympathy and empathy for these people, but without letting them in. I get they come from places where there's not a lot of work. They're very poor. You know, in Mexico, they have the cartels running all around. I get there's difficult situations that the people come from. but we have our own Americans that come from difficult situations too. We have poverty all throughout the country. We have orphans. We have all these different situations where people are struggling. You have single moms raising a bunch of kids. Our own people need help to thrive, and those should always be put first before other citizens or people from other countries, like illegal migrants. That doesn't mean you're an evil person. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. That means you're putting your citizens first. Most countries, every country should do this. Every country should put their own citizens first. And some countries do. And then you have countries like us before Trump. And then you have like Europe, who's just allowing everyone to destroy their countries too. It doesn't work. Okay. And I feel like they're going to get people not to, and now I could be wrong. Maybe people will still see Superman. I'm sure some people still will, but I feel like it's turning people off to seeing Superman, because you're like trying to push a narrative out of this. Like, there's no reason to be like, oh yeah, immigration, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're clearly doing this because you want to push a narrative. Immigration's great, and we need all these people here, as you live in your gated mansion in Hollywood, away from all of it, where you're out of touch completely. You know, it makes no sense. Like, Superman has good reviews so far, 85% by critics, 95% by users. And then if you go to all audiences, 87, verified audience is 95. So a little off there. Still pretty high reviews. Like I said, overall, this movie does look good. I'm not going to see it in theaters personally. It does look good compared to other Superman movies we've had in the past, and just the Superman character in general. But why would you, like, if you haven't learned anything from Disney at this point, is that you don't do stuff like this to try to ruin the box office. So like Disney with like Rachel Zegler basically single-handedly destroying the Snow White opening. Yeah, so you should have taken lessons from that. Now you're probably not going to make as much money off this as you thought you were going to, because at the end of the day, a lot of people that go see movies are like conservative families. You know, they're going to take their kids. This is a movie where kids are going to want to see, and if the parents are like, wow, this dude is trying to push this narrative, I'm not taking my children to see that now. I don't want to support that. That's what you're losing. The crazy leftists, I don't know if they go to the movies or not. Whenever I go to the movies, I don't really see many people with blue hair. But so that might not change at all. But when it comes to actual families seeing this stuff, you gotta I don't want to say cater it to it. You could just not say anything. Like, there's no reason to say anything about this. You could just be like, hey, we have this cool movie about a superhero who's literally the Man of Steel, and his only weakness is a green rock. Like, people are going to be like, oh, wow, that's neat. You know, superhero movies are always going to make money no matter what, unless you do something to ruin the image of it, like making it political when it doesn't need to be political, you know? So that's pretty much it for Superman, this whole section. Yeah, he was, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the box office will be fine. Maybe it'll still make a bunch of money. It comes out Friday, so 2 days from now. So we'll see. That's it for my live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I'm trying to do these more often. I was going to try to do it last Wednesday, and conveniently, our internet went out for the whole day. So I recorded a video through my phone, and I tried uploading it to YouTube through like the Wi-Fi on my phone, and it took 3 hours to upload like a 10-minute video. So luckily the internet was working fine today, so I was able to come out with this. So thank you guys all that are watching right now, still watching, for supporting this. Appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this.